Hi everyone, and welcome back to It's a Twin Thing. So today I'm going to continue talking about the journey in special care unit and leading up to coming home. So the kids came home on the 8th of March, so they were roughly around 36 weeks when they came home. There was sort of a little bit of a delay, so Joshua was pretty much ready to come home probably 2 weeks before he did. Feeding wise, he was just doing really well. Daniela was a little bit behind. She sort of struggled with the feeding and having the tube come out, so relying purely on the bottle. So at one point there was a bit of talk about sending Joshua home first and having Daniela in the special care unit and separating them because they needed the beds at the hospital for other babies, which was so fair enough, but also very hard to come to terms with, considering I couldn't drive. So it would have been, reliant on someone taking me and Joshua into the special care unit every day until Daniela was ready to come home. But what ended up happening was they had the beds, and Joshua sort of, not that he took a step back with his feeding, but it's almost as though he sort of slowed down a little bit, so it was like he was waiting for his sister, and they ended up coming home together, which was really good. So that in itself was a bit of a daunting experience because I was so used to having the guidance of the nurses and the doctors around, and this meant coming home and my husband and I doing it all ourselves. So they were in routine at the hospital, so feeding wise, sleeping wise, they were all routined. So that was sort of a little bit comforting, knowing they were coming home with somewhat of a routine. But again, a little bit daunting because that was it, sort of thing. Overall, the experience, a lot of people sort of said, wow, that would have been hard for you coming home and leaving the kids in the special care unit. So just an overall experience, there were so many pros for being in the special care unit. There were so many cons. Some of the pros were, like I said, the fact that we got to learn how to be parents, and they were taken care of really well there. The nurses were great. The pediatricians were great. I was secure in knowing that when I came home that they were in really good hands. They communicated well, so if there was a concern, we got the phone call to say, hey, Daniela's had a rough night or whatnot. But from a first time mum, it was traumatic for me. And I don't think it actually impacted me until after we got home, because there was so much going on that my focus was just trying to learn to be a mum. But when I reflect back on the time that we spent there, it was really hard. So having to say goodbye every night and leaving my children, my newborn children that we just had, and coming every morning, emotionally it was exhausting. But in saying that, like I said, there were so many positive aspects. So I got to recover from the surgery. I got to learn how to try and be the best mum that I could be. So it depends on how you want to look at it. It was an experience that I don't regret, and I'm grateful for. But it wasn't a typical experience where you have your baby and you go home. So look, it's the mixed emotions, I think I could say, in regards to that. And I think if I was to ask my husband the same thing, he would say the same. He decided when we were in the special care unit he'd work through the day and then come at night and spend time with the kids, and then he took time off when they came home because he thought, it's probably better for him to help me out when we're at home. And to be honest with you, we came home and 2 weeks later, we went into restrictions with COVID. So timing was actually quite good in that regard, because my husband was working from home and he was able to help with the kids. which was really, really good. If you have any questions in regards to the special care unit, feel free to contact me about anything. And so tomorrow I'm going to be talking about preparation for coming home from the hospital. So, you know, furniture and bottles and formula and breastfeeding, and then eventually we'll go into the postpartum topics like teething and crawling and sleeping and feeding and all that sort of stuff. So stay tuned. We'll see you tomorrow and have a great day. Cheers.